Do you know what vehicle German infantry used to go on a rampage in World War II? It could keep up with tanks in a Blitzkrieg assault, flooring it all the way from Poland to the Soviet Union. It looked like a tin bread box, but was called the Stuka on tracks. When enemies saw it carrying rockets, their knees went weak. Can you believe this thing not only dominated upon debut, but had insane versatility? There were over 20 official variants alone. Mount a 75mm gun, and it dared to brawl with Shermans. Attach a dozer blade, and it became an engineering vehicle. Today, let's tear down the German battlefield taxi, the Sd.Kfz 51 half-track armored personnel carrier. Why did Germany build this hybrid monster? It turns out, in the 1930s, German armored warfare leaders were ahead of their time. They realized tanks were too fast for infantry to keep up. They needed a big rig that could tank bullets and go off-road. So the Hanomag company took the Kfz-11 artillery tractor chassis and cooked up the Sd.Kfz 251, the world's first mass-produced medium half-track armored vehicle. A prototype appeared in 1934, and mass production hit in 1939. In its first battle, it became the infantry's flash legs. In fact, this tin box hit a lot of hardcore tech. From Model A to Model D, it gradually improved armor protection and production efficiency. For example, the most produced Model D simplified the design to boost output. The front got a hexagonal armor plate, and the rear used an inward-sloping armor plate. The vehicle was 5.8 meters long, 2.1 meters wide, and 1.75 meters high. It weighed 8.5 tons. Its belly could stuff 12 Hans. 2 drivers plus 10 soldiers. It usually mounted 2 MG-34 machine guns or even 2 G-42 Hitler's buzzsaws. It dared to get close and personal even with Soviet T-34s. Armor thickness was 7 to 15 millimeters, enough to stop stray bullets. But with an open top, rainy days were miserable. The powertrain was solid though. Equipped with a Maybach HL42 engine, one stomp on the gas unleashed 100 horsepower. This allowed the vehicle to hit 55 km/h on roads, with a range of about 320 kilometers. Climbing 24-degree slopes was effortless. Worth mentioning is the black tech steering. Front wheels for roads, Kletrack track system for rough terrain. Turning radius was only 6.75 meters. In mud, it could slither like a snake. Here's the main point. From the Blitzkrieg to the ruins of Berlin, it carried grenadiers ahead of the tanks. When Polish cavalry charged with sabers, the MG-42s on the 251 turned the cavalry company into horse meat. Infantry then jumped out and secured the trench in 5 minutes. Blitzkrieg finally had infantry legs. The French saw this weird-looking vehicle and were completely confused. Before they could react, the Germans rushed out and caught them off guard. On the Eastern Front, it evolved into a battlefield transformer. Mount an 81mm mortar, and it was a mobile battery. Mount a 75mm cannon, and it fought tanks. It even served as an ambulance or command vehicle, especially when loaded with 6 280mm rockets, Stuka Zufus. After a 10-second salvo, nothing survived within 1.9 kilometers. In street fights, infantry called it in. Forget the planes, let this thing bomb them. During the Battle of the Bulge, Germans painted 251s in U.S. olive drab, hung U.S. flags, and infiltrated behind lines. Allied sentries thought they were friendlies, only to get machine-gunned into shock. It turned the Allied defense line into chaos. Even during the German retreat, it was a prized ride. Soldiers fought to board it to reach the next defensive line. That shows how popular it was. But every piece of gear has a weakness. Soviet winter mud twisted its tracks into pretzels. Desert sand choked the engine until it coughed. Allied pilots loved dropping bombs right into its open top. One hit, and everyone inside was dead or wounded. This brings us to its variants. The 251-4 became an artillery tractor, pulling 75mm or 105mm howitzers. The 251-9 mounted a 75mm low-velocity gun, specifically for knocking out bunkers. Panzer troops called it the poor man's assault gun. The 251-21 fitted a triple 15mm or 20mm cannon mount drilling, specializing in low-flying Allied planes. Pilots cursed it. Why is this convertible more annoying than flak? From 1934 to 1944, Germany produced 16,000 units, with over 20 variants, from flamethrowers to command posts. The thin armor and complex structure made mechanics swear, Fixing it was harder than building a new one. After II ended, it didn't retire. France and Czechoslovakia, as the OT-810, used captured stocks until the 1960s. Its half-track design inspired the US M44 and the modern concept of infantry fighting vehicles, IFVs. Charging the front lines with troops started with this guy. Brothers, if a German 251 dueled a US